Good morning. Kade the Wizard Wells here. Hope everybody's off to a great start to their school year. We're here at our first Friday of the year, and I just kind of want to run some things by you folks and let you all know how it's going. And if you're trying to do the same thing as I am and bring D&D into your schools, these are some tidbits that'll help you get started. So this is kind of another setup video. I have a seventh and eighth grade advanced English. So the seventh graders have mostly never played D&D. I had about six of the when they were sixth graders that were in D&D clubs. So that's a great start to our year as they come in as seventh grade. I already have, six essentially trained role players to help with groups and stuff. My eighth graders who played all year last year, the startup is different for both of them. For kids who have never played before, it's of course much slower. For the eighth graders, you still kind of have to go through everything and make sure that character sheets are filled out with fidelity and stuff. But I include the dungeon masters a lot more in that process because I know who they are already. In fact, last year at the end of the year, we spent a good deal of time in our cohort deciding, who was going to be DM and kind of what the groups might look like. And for the eighth graders, and I used a lot of their feedback to say, okay, you guys can't really work really well together, and how does this group look, and what would you do, for the kiddos and their personalities and stuff. And so, giving the kids agency, of course, you want them to be able to play with at least a friend. You want the groups to work, so that's looking really, really good for eighth grade. In seventh grade, we're not done making characters yet, and I have a few DMs identified from club and just from getting to know the sixth graders last year. So that's already a leg up. I already know who my seventh grade dungeon masters are going to be. That's fantastic. So just to kind of run through this sort of quickly and efficiently, all I have my new players do, my seventh graders, the very first time they open a player's handbook, we have a 42-minute period. All I ask them to do is figure out what they want for their race, their class, and their background. Literally 3 words. All they're going to do is find their race, their class, and their background. And they do this by browsing, using the reading skill, the skimming reading skill. So already, that was the first day of school after policies and procedures. Then they start digging through the player's handbook. It's an intense experience for me as I try to facilitate, 25 learners learning the game for the first time. And so that's why you start really, really small. So if you're interested in doing this, whether it's for a club after school, or if you're like myself and you've got approved through your administration to do it in school as a supplemental activity, like ours is on Fridays, which does all kinds of good things for us, including recovery if kiddos are behind on work. But if you start with something so small, just those 3 words, then they're already engaged in the research process, and they're not really aware of how much work they're doing. But it's intense as I'm going around the room then after that to fill out the whole character sheet. And so literally, family, you just take it one step at a time, and it takes as long as it takes. Okay, like in the first week of school, we'll have characters all done. We're moving towards, in eighth grade, we're moving towards head to toe description of character really, really soon. They're going to get a sentence variety lesson, and then they're going to start doing their head to toe description where they use their hero forge. They'll make a hero forge, picture, the 3-dimensional picture. And from that picture, then they'll write their head to toe description using sentence variety. So we're really, really close to that. Now, considering what normal first week of school looks like for everybody else, I know that my students are engaging in a highly cognitive task really, really early. And I was thinking about this a lot last night. I do believe that is probably responsible for the launch of the entire year. I mean, we're starting off with a complex, rigorous task right away. All kinds of decisions need to be made, all kinds of, reading and gleaning skills, right? And so if we start out with this really kind of intense metacognitive task, it sets a platform for everything else that we'll do for the rest of the year, which is kind of easier than what we start out doing. And so a testament to why their scores are so good. So then from there, after race, class, and background, we just start very slowly putting the things together. So of course we do the ability scores, and I show them the quick build. So I'll have my player's handbook open on the screen, and I show them the quick build, and I just build a character along with them. In fact, I build 3. So I build 1 for each class so that I have a record of where I left off with each class, because each class moves a little differently, right? So then instead of my character name, I'll write like the class period here, and that's on the screen. If you're trying to get started and you are looking for resources like the books, D&D Beyond allows educator resources. You should be able to get an educator license, and that gives you access to all the core rule books. Obviously, I've collected the fifth edition books for a long time and have about 15 or 16 players handbooks. Always looking for more. So you can ask parents, you can have fundraisers, whatever you need to do to get books. So I'm going to walk you around the room just a little bit and show you kind of what it takes to get set up and how to feel good about yourself when you do so. So my room is done in groups. Some of you have seen this. This isn't new. I've organized it so the dungeon masters face away from each other. They sit at these desks. Their dungeon master screens sit either here or here on the desk, and that gives them the ability to speak away from each other. That's the whole intent, is to speak away from each other. And if you are still looking for resources, you're going to want all the stuff that makes it engaging. So this is my dungeon craft corner. I built a lot more over the summer, but garbage starts to take on a whole new meaning as you start looking at, things like foam and, this is a oatmeal container, right? XPS foam, insulation foam. That's part of the craft. These are $20 a sheet for an 8x4 foot sheet, and just building stuff. If you can get your kids involved in the building of stuff, that is another hobby that they'll take with them wherever they go. Stupid little buildings, right? Tents and things, trees from the dollar store. Most of the stuff that I get is from the dollar store. These little trees, just really simple XPS foam base. And then, practicing making them is really, really fun. And the kiddos think they're neat. That's essentially a free resource once you have the paint. Sorry if the picture was out of view there, doing the best I can. Bookshelf, this is where I usually do my little feeds. Bookshelf where all the stuff is found. If you're looking for battle mats, this is one of the things that I found is really, really great. These are just yoga mats from Menards. They're $10 and they come in 6-foot lengths. You could do two sides if you want to. They were so cheap that I decided to just do one side. And then the hardest part is drawing the grid, of course. And I have the kiddos help me with that in advisory class, just using a yardstick and doing the marks and then drawing the lines with a Sharpie. So we have several of these. We have them in 2 of them in black. We have 2 of them in green, for grass. And I painted these. It's actually really rewarding and kind of fun. We did 2 roads last year because we kind of needed, something where a village could be set up or something like that. They're just really, really easy, guys. Perhaps an art teacher would be interested in helping with something like that. And then I found one that was already kind of, watery. And so we use this for swamps. We use this for ocean. I could have painted it, but I just it doesn't really need it. The point is made. And so this is a really, really cheap resource, and they're super forgiving. Like if a kid just left this all crumpled up, it would still come undone really, really well. And so yoga mats really make a good dungeon base. And a stupid thing about this, when you're like leaning over, to help a kiddo when they're playing their game, and you lean over, your hand kind of sinks into it. It's squishy and kind of therapeutic. It's the little things that get us through, right? You always want to make sure that you set an expectation. I do that during the policies and procedures where I explain to them, it's not going to be for everybody. Doesn't matter. You're in school. It's been approved. I was able to talk to the parents of a lot of my resistant students from last year, and the parents are basically like, what are you complaining about? Sure, it might be hard. Sure, it might be out of your wheelhouse, but you're in school and your teacher is asking you to do this, and so you will do it. And so scores I expect this year from 7th grade to 8th grade, the 8th grader scores will be awesomely massive, just like my last year's students were. And so we'll start doing regular stuff and things probably next week, all launching from their character and their character's description. Head to toe description is a great first assignment. And then we'll take all those and print them out with their image, and we'll put them on the wall outside my room and show everybody the heroes that live here. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, the rubric, gameplay rubric. So if you plan on doing this in class, this is really I feel it's important because you can show parents what it is that they're actually learning by doing it. So reading and comprehending complex and literary and informational text independently and proficiently, that is exactly what they have to do to make their character and to know the rule system. They have to apply knowledge of language to understand how language functions in different contexts and to comprehend more fully when reading or listening. Okay, so they have to actually understand what it is that they're doing, what the text is telling them, and how to apply it. They have to determine, understand, and apply word meanings, relationships, and phrases for reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Okay, so if they don't know the terminologies of the game and how that works, they can't play. They have to prepare for, participate in, evaluate a range of conversations with diverse partners presented in a variety of media and formats. Okay, that's what D&D is. Very, very much what D&D is. Okay. Adapting speech to a variety of contexts in ELA formats, media and communicative tasks, demonstrating full command of formal English to present, express, and understand information. This is like the adaptation of their character. Are they going to just play themselves on a two-dimensional piece of paper, or are they going to attempt to actually be somebody? And then here's the criteria of how they did 4, 3, 2, and 1. So this is what it looks like in terms of like the grade language. And that's important just because it gives you a place to say, hey, you know, you might not think this is important. You might think this is stupid. These are concrete standards that are applicable to the task. And I can tell you this with certainty because I've been teaching for 12 years now. So it's almost like I know what I'm doing. Really, really excited to start this year. I've got the greatest principals in all the world. Micah Fesler, Amanda Olinger as the assistant principal. They are just the greatest people. Everybody in this whole building walks around in a good mood. I mean, what is wrong with this? You know, like what's happening here? So this culture that's been built with the building that we just started last year, we are starting with such a positive culture that it's already rubbing off on the kids, and the place is filled with laughter and joy. Right. We're looking forward to, I'm really looking forward to the Ready Player One unit. I'll give a couple pings about that later on, but this is my vision board that I did as my model. Remember, guys, modeling is absolutely paramount. So this is what I've made. This is the movies and the games and everything from that unit that I really, really liked. And so they all made these, and a lot of the kiddos said they're going to take it straight home and put it on their wall at home and probably take it with them when they go to college. My 8th graders now moved to 9th grade, missing them, right? It's weird when they move on after your 3 years of getting to know them and then suddenly they're gone. But that's the nature of letting the geese fly, right? So this is the Wizard Wells signing off from the first week of school. I hope you all live the dream. What we do is really important. Don't be a stinky teacher. Be a good teacher.